Ang Tell a Story Week na pinasimula ng Southern Asia Pacific Division Adventist Children's Ministries ay isang paraan ng evangelism na lalahukan ng mga bata hanggang 14 years old gamit ang kanilang mga talento na ibinigay ng Diyos sa pagkukwento. Ito ay isang linggong pakikilahok at isang espesyal na paraan sa bawat bata na magkukwento ng isang kwentong batay sa Bible sa isang hindi Seventh-day Adventist na bata, kaibigan, kapitbahay o kamag-anak, pwedeng sa isang hindi Seventh-day Adventist na bata o non-Seventh-day Adventist na adult. Ang pagkukwento ay nagpapatunay na isang mahusay na tool ito sa pagbabahagi ng pagmamahal ng Diyos sa mga tao. Kahit bata pa sila, gagamitin sila ng Diyos upang magdala ng higit pang mga kaluluwa sa Kanyang kaharian. Ang mga kalahok ay mga bata 5 hanggang 14 years old sa ilalim ng pangangasiwa ng Adventist Children's Ministries leaders sa mga lokal na simbahan. Sila ay mga kabilang sa klase ng kindergarten, primaries, juniors, at early teens. Ang bawat area sa 10 areas ng Central Luzon Conference ay nagpadala ng 3 to 5 minute video ng isang bata na nagkukwento ng batay sa Bible sa mga individual o grupo ng hindi Seventh-day Adventist na mga bata o sa individual o grupo ng mga hindi Seventh-day Adventist na adults. Sila ngayon ay masasaksihan natin dito sa Central Luzon Conference FB page at pwedeng mapili at maparangalan ng North Philippine Union Conference o pwedeng umabot sa Southern Asia Pacific Division Adventist Children's Ministries Department. Ang Tell a Story Week ay magbibigay ng mga pagkakataon sa mga bata na maabot ang mundo sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng kanilang mga spiritual na kaloob sa pagpapatotoo at paglilingkod kay Kristo sa plataforma ng pagkukwento. Ang sabi po sa 1 Peter 4 verse 10, bilang mabubuting katiwala ng iba't ibang kaloob ng Diyos, gamitin ninyo sa kakapakinabangan ng lahat ang kakayahang tinanggap ng bawat isa sa inyo.
Has anything bad ever happened to you? Did it get better? Why do you think God let bad things happen to us? We're going to read in our Bible story today about a man who had some pretty bad things happen to him. Let's pay special attention to what his attitude is and how it deals with those bad things. Long ago, in the faraway land of Oz, there lived a man named Job. Job was a good man. He loved God. He refused to do wrong. He was honorable, and he was rich. He had thousands of donkeys, camels, sheep, oxen, and has 10 sons. He is the greatest man in the land. Everything in his life went smooth. God had told Satan to do Job as he pleased, but on one condition: he could not harm Job. Satan slunk away, devising a devilish plan to make Job turn against God. One day, as Job was enjoying his life, a servant ran out, breathless, with his devastating news. All the oxen and donkeys were stolen by an invading force, and the servants were killed. I barely escaped. Right as Job was hearing this, another servant shouting out, a huge fire came up and burned all the sheep, and the servants were killed. Another servant was running to Job, sobbing in terror. Job, the enemy came and stole all the camels and killed the servants. A servant had hardly finished when another servant came, running to Job, screaming the most horrible news of all. Your children were having a feast together, and a terrible wind destroyed the house. Your children are all dead. In an instant, Job lost everything. His wealth, his family are gone. The grief was painful. Job tore his clothes, shaved his hand, and he fell on the ground. Satan thought that Job was going to be mad at God, but instead, Job worshipped God. The Lord gave me everything, and He has the right to take it away. I will still praise God, Job said. Satan then asked God if he could make Job sick. He was sure that Job wouldn't curse God. God told Satan that he could continue with his faith. But Satan then asked God if he could make Job sick. He was sure that if Job was sick, he will now curse God. God told Satan that he could continue with his plan, but was not allowed to kill Job. Then it happened. Job broke out with sores over his entire body. He became very ill. The pain and itching was so unbearable that he broke a pot and scratched his sores. Job's wife was no help at all. She came up to her husband and said, "You're still trying to do good? Just curse God and die." But Job did not see. He continued to worship God. Even Job's friends started to turn against him. They thought that Job was some sin for God to punish him like this. They were all trying to give him advice and tell him what to do. Instead of helping Job and praying for him, they criticized him. Through all this, Job did not sin. He continued to trust and worship. Job started to lose heart. He did not understand why God is doing that to him. So God spoke with Job and explained to him that as God, He created Job and everything to existence. As God, no one had the right to question him or his decisions, even though it may not make sense. God was trying to show Job a valuable lesson. Job responded in the only way possible. He worshipped and repented. Eventually, Job's suffering stopped. Satan's plan did not work. Job still loved God. God was so pleased with Job that He healed him and gave him health. This time, He blessed Job with more children, wealth, and possessions that he could ever imagine. Job even lived until he was 140 years of age. The end of Job's life was even better than that. No one wishes for a life like Job's, but God's word includes Job's story for a reason. The book of Job teaches kids that we can trust God's sovereignty. He's not going to let anything happen to us without a purpose. And His purpose is always good for those who love Him.
Find about a story about a man named Jacob, and he lives in the land of Canaan. This man named Jacob has 12 sons, and one of those sons is Joseph. You see, Joseph was the favorite son of Jacob, so his fellow brothers were very jealous and angry at his favoritism of their father. One day, as they were harvesting meat from the field, Joseph told the story to his brothers. And this story was about his dream. His dream was that as they were tying bundles of wheat, his brother's sheaves bowed down to his own sheep. And his brothers were very angry and said, "Do you want to be a ruler over us? It's unfair and it isn't right." Later on, perhaps in their own tent, Joseph told his brothers another dream. And that dream was about the sun, moon, and stars bowing down to him. When he told that dream to his brothers, his father was also angry. Not really angry, but quite upset. He said, "Do you want your brothers, your mother, and your father to bow down to you?" Later on, because the grass there in their place wasn't fit for the sheep that they were tending, his father sent them to Shechem and then to Dothan to provide food for their sheep. Joseph was sent to look after his brothers to see if they were fine. When Joseph got there, his brothers wanted to kill him. But thankfully, Reuben, the oldest of them, told them not to kill Joseph. He said, "Let's just throw him into that empty pit in the wilderness." And that's what they did. They tore Joseph's coat, which father had given him, the coat of many colors, and they cast him into the pit. Because you see, they had become more jealous when Jacob had given Joseph a coat of many colors that was very beautiful in their time. Reuben left to go to the city to buy some things or to get some things. As he was away, there were some Ishmaelite traders that were going into Egypt selling goods and things. The brothers of Joseph were so angry at him that they sold him to the Ishmaelite traders to become a slave in the land of Egypt. This is what jealousy does. It tears away family relationships. It builds anger in our hearts. So we must learn not to be jealous of other people. Yes, some people are richer than us, have better grades than us, are far better than us. But we must not be jealous, because we know that if we are jealous, sometimes we tend to do something that we know God wouldn't want to do. It's sometimes hard to not be jealous, but let us always remember that God is there to help us not to be jealous, and let us be content with whatever we have. Next time, when we see somebody with better things or somebody that has a better life than us, we should remember that it is bad to be jealous. So I hope you will not be jealous next time, and thank you.
Good evening and happy Sabbath po! The title of our story is Daddy's Helper. Our memory verse is found in the book of Proverbs 20 verse 11. Even a small children are known by his actions. Jesus' father Joseph was a carpenter. A carpenter is a person who builds or fixes things made of wood. Joseph may have had a workshop near his house.
Good morning, everyone. For today's story is entitled Jesus' Crucifixion. One day, Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane and prayed. Jesus told them that do not sleep but pray for him. Then later on, Jesus prayed. After he prayed, he went back to the disciples. When he went back, he looked at the disciples and told them, "Won't you watch with me?" And then later on, Jesus walked back again and prayed. After that, he went back but saw them again sleeping. Later on, Jesus said, "Why won't you watch with me? Can you please watch after me, at least for 1 hour?" Then Jesus prayed again. When he went back, he told the disciples were already sleeping again. Then Jesus told them, Judas and the Roman soldiers came to Jesus and arrested him. While Jesus was taken, the disciples told to protect themselves. And then later on, Peter actually followed Jesus while he was captured. Then later on, while he was on the crowd, "Are you the disciple of Jesus?" And then Peter said, "No." And then another woman said, "I know you are the disciple of Jesus." Peter said, "No, I don't know that man. I haven't been with him." Then later on, Peter remembered that when he was at Gethsemane, Jesus said, "You will deny me 3 times." After that, the cock crows 3 times. Then Peter heard the cock crow 3 times. And also, Peter denied 3 times as what Jesus said as well. Then later on, when Jesus was at the cross, he told John to take care of his family. And when Jesus was about to die, Jesus said, "It is finished." It means when Jesus was about to die, he told the Father that he was done about his mission. Then, when Jesus died, the ground shook. And then one of the Roman soldiers near the cross said, "This man truly is the Son of God." Then Joseph went to Jesus, and one of the Roman soldiers said that Joseph was going to put Jesus in his tomb and put him there. But before Jesus was there, when he was not crucified yet, he told them that after 3 days, I will arise in the tomb, and I will not be there. Then when Jesus was at the tomb closed, one of the two Roman soldiers walked to the tomb of Jesus. Then they told them that they should protect this because his body might be stolen. Then later on, after 3 days, Mary and Martha went to the tomb to visit Jesus. He was not there. And then an angel said, "Don't be afraid. Jesus is not here. He has risen." Then they were excited. They told the other disciples that Jesus had arisen. And then they locked the doors and the windows. And then when they told them, after that, they looked behind and Jesus was there. And then later on, God said, "I will send you a Holy Spirit to preach my words." And then Jesus went up and arose. Later on, they were thinking of what they seen and heard. And later on, they felt a burning soul in their hearts, and then preached everyone about God's love. The moral lesson for today is the resurrection of Jesus, and to forgive others who've done bad to you. Even though you are their worst enemy, but you still have to forgive them, because if you do love them, they'll love you too. As if Jesus said, if you love others as I have loved you. And also, our memory verse is in John 3 verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have the everlasting life. I hope to see you next time. God bless.
Hi, I'm Deb. Do you want to hear a story?
Yes.
But before I ask, may I ask, do you pray?
Yes. Yes.
When do you pray? In the morning, when you wake up?
Yes.
Before you eat?
Yes.
Before you sleep?
Yes.
Before you go somewhere?
Yes.
In the afternoon?
Yes.
Do you pray every day?
Yes.
Do you pray with your family?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you about a man named Daniel who prayed 3 times a day. Can you believe it? Morning, afternoon, and the evening. Daniel was also sent in the lion's den. So, if you want to hear further, listen to my story. Daniel was an administrator to King Darius, like the highest position as all. Some people were very jealous of Daniel, that he had a great friendship as well with King Darius, and he had a high position. So sad. They tried to find anything bad that Daniel did. They found nothing. Daniel was very faithful. He did no bad things. And they said, why don't we make a statue? A statue of King Darius that every eye could see. And write a decree about it, that in 30 days you are not allowed to pray to any other god but that statue. And every time you hear a bell ring, you would always come near the statue and bow down to it. King Darius did it. The second that Daniel heard that, he went straight to his home. He opened the window, looked straight to Jerusalem, knelt down and prayed. Daniel prayed by saying thank you to God, by praising Him, by thanking Him for simple things that happened. It was very good. But when the 3 men found Daniel in his room praying to another god, they took him to the palace. They said, This man broke the decree that we wrote. King Darius inside was very sad that he sees his friend being sent to the lion's den and that he has no power against it because he sealed it himself. It was so sad. When Daniel was sent to the lion's den that day, King Darius tried to stop him, but nothing happened. That night, King Darius barely slept. He kept turning around his bed thinking, what happened to my friend? Did he get eaten? What if he get harmed? It's all my fault, he said. And the second he woke up, he went down to the palace ground and ordered the guards to open the seal and check on his friend. When he opened the seal, something happened. Do you know what's gonna happen?
No.
Do you have any ideas?
No.
Do you think Daniel's gonna be saved?
Yes.
Why? Do you believe it?
Yes.
I'll tell you. When he opened that seal, King Darius asked, Daniel, my friend, did God save you? Are you okay? He asked those questions. And Daniel said, yes, God saved me. He knew that I was innocent. He sent angels to cover the mouths of the lions to not harm the lion. That's what he said. The moral of the story is, if you're faithful, if you trust God, if you pray every day like you guys do, He will save you and He will answer those prayers if it's according to His will. He will listen to your cries and pleas. He would always be there for you.
Hi! How are you? I am Zinian Jagat Kapuyan. I'm 10 years old. Do you like to hear a story? Did you know of a boy who asks everything he likes? The title of my story is Warren's Watchbook. One day, Warren and his dad were walking on the main street. And suddenly, Warren shouted, "Look, Dad! That is the very thing I have been wanting for a long time!" So they went all the way home. And all that evening and all the next day, Warren could think of nothing but those fishing boots. Dad talked to Warren and said, "It was only a week ago that you wanted a new airplane." "I've forgotten all of those, Daddy. It's the boots I want now," said Warren. "Are you sure?" asked his dad. "But it's not long that you wanted to keep chickens. You wanted to keep pigeons and goats. You also said you like ponies and donkeys. I couldn't live without them. What would have happened if I had got you all the things you've asked for? I don't know. Our backyard would have been full of animals by now, if they had not all starved to death from neglect." "Well, it's all the boots I want, Daddy," said Warren. "I don't believe it. 2 weeks from now, you'll want something else. Then you won't give the boots another thought," said his dad. "Oh no," said Warren. "I promise. Just buy me the boots and I shall be happy the rest of my life." "Well, I am not going to buy the boots, but I am ready to make a bargain with you." "What is it, Dad?" asked Warren. "We will buy a little notebook and label it Warren's Notebook. I will write down each day the things you say you really like. And beside, I shall write the date. Then, if you still like those things, 1 month later, I will buy it for you." "Oh, that's great! Then I shall get my boots," said Warren. "I don't think you will," said his dad. "Oh, yes, I will. Better get your money ready, Daddy," said Warren. "I think my money is pretty safe," said his dad. And Dad was right. A month later, Warren completely lost interest in the fishing boots. During the month, he had seen many toys that won his heart. And Dad put them all down in Warren's notebook, perfectly sure that in most cases he wouldn't have to buy them. And so it came about that through the months and years that followed, Dad saved a lot of money, and Warren got the things he really wanted. Besides that, he learned a priceless lesson: not to spend money too quickly on the passing whims of the moment. That ends my story. Spend wisely. Save your money.
Ang kwento natin ngayon ay tungkol kay Jonas. Si Jonas ay inutusan ni Jesus na pumunta sa Nineveh, at ngunit siya ay tumakas at pumunta sa Tarsus. Siya ay sumakay ng barko, at ngunit si Jesus ay naglabas ng malakas na hangin at matigas na paligid. Ang mga tao ay nagpanik at itatapon nila ang mga gamit nila para hindi sila lumubog. Ang kapitan ng barko ay napansin si Jonas ang sarap na tulog. Tinanong niya ito, "Hindi ka ba kinakabahan?" Sabi naman ni Jonas, "Ako ay isang Hebrew. Ako na lang ang itapon niya sa dagat." Sabi ng kapitan ng barko, "Sigurado ka ba na gusto mo ikaw itapon namin?" Sabi naman ni Jonas, "Oo, ako ay sigurado." Noong tinapon ng mga tao, si Jonas, kinain siya ng malaking pating. Si Jonas ay nagdasal at nagpatawad sa Panginoon sa kanyang ginawa at hindi niya ito sinunod. At nakalipas na ilang araw, niluwa siya ng pating. At pinunta siya sa Ninive. Ang lesson natin ngayon ay sana sumunod tayo sa Panginoon at huwag natin ito susuwayin.
Ay isang matangkad at malakas mula sa lipunang sila. Good heart, great, si Lord niya, kayo magantay na mabigay yung Lord niya. At si Joshua naman ang sambat ng mga leader that should be and king had also brought a good report na hindi siyang dalang magandang kanina. Para si King Joshua ay pinapayagang magsalita ng mausisya at the land flows with milk and honey, just as God told us. Sabi ng mga spy, yan daw, meron daw yung mga gatas, mga honey, kagaya ng sinabi ng Panginoon sa kanila. And we have brought back some food, sabi ni Caleb. Sabi kay Caleb, mga Joshua, meron daw dala yung mga spy na mga prutas. Ano daw yung dala nila? Caleb and Joshua expected two men to step forward with a huge bag of grapes. Yan. They carried on a pole to them. Yan. So yung in-expect daw ni Caleb at ni Joshua ay dalawang lalaki na mag-step forward na may dalang madami bukas. Ano yung dala nila? Yan. Instead, the other spies spoke only about 12 cities and giants they saw in the land. Nakita daw silang mga giants. Alam niyo ba yung giants? The people listening began to grumble and complain. Yan, parang may mga tao daw na nakikinig kung simula na silang mag-complain. Ganun, parang nagreklamo. Caleb could see that their mood was growing up. Yan, nakita daw ni Caleb na yung mood nila ay nagsisimula ng pumangit. Yan. Suddenly, he stepped between Moses and the people. Yan. Parang nag-step daw siya dun sa gitna ng mga tao at ni Moses. Yan. We can go up at once and take possession of the land. Sabi ni Caleb. Yun daw yung sinabi niya para mapakalma yung mga tao. It is a good land. We can certainly do it. Yan, sabi ni Caleb. Maganda daw yung land na yun at makakalit nilang gawin yun. Paano natin magagawa yun? Dahil discovered spies of me. Yan, tinanong siya ng mga 10 mga lalaki na nagwawalan na ng mga pagkasa. We felt like grasshoppers beside those people, and that is how we came to them. Yan, sabi na para daw silang mga nakipaklo sa tabi ng mga tao yun. Alam niyo ba yung tipaklo? Yes, kulay green na
grasshopper.
The people raised their voices and cried all night long. Yan, nagtaasam daw yung mga boses nila, nagsigawan sila. It would have been better to die in Egypt or even here in the wilderness, but they obeyed. Yan, sabi niya, mas maganda daw na mamatay na lang sa Egypt or doon sa wilderness. Why is the Lord taking us into that land? We will be killed in battle, and our wives and children will be captured. Let's go back to Egypt. Yan.
Hey Jaden, I have a story for you. You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so today's story is about Jonah. One day, God told Jonah to to tell his message to the people of Nineveh because they were doing bad things. But instead of following God, Jonah instead decided to sail a ship going into the opposite direction of Nineveh to a place called Tarshish. While he was still sailing, a great and powerful wind sent by God caused a storm that looked like it was powerful enough to tear apart the ship. The sailors, fearing for their lives, they tried everything they could to save the ship, but it was no use. The captain went down to Jonah because he was sleeping, and he said to him, How can you sleep in these conditions? Pray to your God so that he may be able to help us." So then the sailors figured out that it was Jonah who was causing the storm. So the sailors asked Jonah, "Who are you, and why is this happening to us?" Jonah explained to them that Jonah explained who he was, and he explained that he worships the one and true God who made the sea. And so Jonah told the sailors to throw him off the boat, and that would stop the storm. But the sailors still tried to escape the storm. They tried everything they could, but it wouldn't work. And they eventually threw Jonah into the sea. And then Jonah was eaten by a big fish, but he was not actually eaten. He was just, how do you say this? He was just laying in the fish's mouth because that fish was commanded by God to save Jonah when he was thrown into the sea. Jonah stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights. He prayed while he was inside the fish, and after the 3 days and 3 nights, God commanded the fish to spit out Jonah. And then God told Jonah again to go to Nineveh. But this time, Jonah followed him. Jonah followed God's command, and he went to Nineveh. The people of Nineveh are no longer doing bad things because Jonah told them, and they listened, and they were saved by God's word.
Wow, that was a wonderful story. Thank you, Kuya.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Sabbath. Today I have a story for you. It's about Lolo Noah. Lolo Noah made an ark, and Lolo Noah told to the people to come inside the ark. But the people said, "No, we don't trust you. You are crazy." Lolo Noah said, "Trust me, because Jesus, he will send the flood." And the people said, "No, we don't trust you. You are very crazy." And the flood came, and the people groaned. And the people said to the Lolo Noah, "Help, Noah, please help us." And Lolo Noah can't because Jesus shut the door and the people died. And inside the ark, there are 8 people safe and old kind animals and kids. That's why kids obey your Jesus and pray always to Jesus and worship. That's all. Goodbye and happy Sabbath.